in hollow spaces. After the electric wiring has been installed, the body is joined to the chassis on the assembly line. Then comes the final assembly of the electric elements, instruments, wheels, seats, and hood. Immediately after completion on this assembly line, which is just next to that of its little brother, the Haflinger, every pinzgauer is subjected to an acceptance test by the factory. At regular intervals, more exhaustive series examinations are made by random sampling. Test drivers then thoroughly try out the behavior of these vehicles in all driving situations. For example, on the road in all forward gears and speeds. Off the road after shifting to intermediate drive. Driving with all-wheel drive and differential lock in difficult country. Performance and behavior of the vehicle under these conditions, and the dependability of all component parts. Two basic models of the pinzgauer are manufactured. The two-axle model 4x4 with a payload of 1 ton. And the three-axle model 6x6 with a larger load area and a payload of 1.5 tons. On all vehicles, the load area can be converted into seats for passenger transport. Two rollover bars ensure effective protection for all occupants. The engine is located inside the driver's cab, and after lifting the appropriate covers, all assemblies are easily accessible from all sides for maintenance work. One of the first clients for the pinzgauer was the Swiss Army, which subjected several prototypes of the vehicle to toughest testing conditions for a full year. In addition to the two models we have already mentioned, which were used as personnel carriers, there is a radio truck model whose fitness for military use was also tested. The tests, the films of which you are now seeing, consisted of long and grueling cross-country trials, plus a series of fundamental technical tests. In traction tests, the maximum pull of the vehicle and its ground adhesion were tested under greatly varying conditions. The dynamometer shows a pull of 2 tons. This proves that all-wheel drive in combination with differential locks makes possible a maximum utilization of power up to the limit of tire traction by the non-slip drive of all wheels. The trials were repeated on various surfaces such as hardtop roads, gravel, grass, and so on. The recording tape supplies information about the time slope of the pull when the drawn vehicle is braked. In winter, the best results are obviously obtained with snow chains on. Low temperature test. Optimum performance in winter is one of the most important demands made on an all-purpose vehicle. Easy starting and perfect operation were confirmed at temperatures as low as -30 degrees centigrade. On the chassis dynamometer, the engine function and the entire powertrain are checked. The carbon monoxide content of the exhaust is checked by a CO tester. This has a double purpose: good fuel utilization and the demands of environmental protection. The pinzgauer meets the required values. Using the so-called Peiseler wheel, exact measurements of top speed, acceleration, and vehicle stopping distances can be made. In addition, a decelerometer is employed. The pinzgauer is equal to all demands. The following cornering and swerve test provides information about the pinzgauer's behavior under the effect of centrifugal force when taking curves. The pinzgauer shows only modest side tilt values, behaving like a passenger vehicle with excellent road-holding properties. The installed recorder registers the accelerations and decelerations of the body under these conditions and confirms the vehicle's good drivability. A not insignificant part of the test series were rollover trials, which showed the following results. In terrain with a gradient of approximately 20%, the vehicle remained on its side after capsizing. In steeper terrain of 70 to 80%, the interior was protected for some time when overturning by the two strong rollover bars. This means a high degree of safety for the occupants. An impact test demonstrated that the body remained relatively undamaged at an impact of approximately 50 kilometers per hour. The center tube chassis likewise showed great resistance to deformation. The central feature of all tests were repeated cross-country driving under the toughest conditions. Here, the technical resources of the vehicle proved their worth. Water with a depth of 60 centimeters and more can be forded by the pinzgauer without difficulty, since the necessary splash proofing is provided. The pinzgauer's fording depth is 600 millimeters. The ground clearance obtained by the portal axles makes it possible to travel on deeply rutted ground. The pinzgauer's ground clearance is 335 millimeters. Climbing capacity is first-rate, subject to the surface and the tire traction limit. The latter is 70% for the pinzgauer, and even more on hard surfaces like concrete. Traversing narrow ditches with steep walls depends on the greatest possible overhang angles of the vehicle. Thanks